I'm Raymond Arroyo. This is the Ingraham Angle. And now America's birthday, gloom or glory? This year, there seems to be a determined effort to hijack or dismiss Independence Day. It is an effort that we as a people should resist. The president's having a party for first responders and the military at the White House this weekend, which is a nice gesture. But listen to his vision for July 4th.
By July the 4th, there's a good chance you, your families and friends will be able to get together in your backyard or in your neighborhood and have a cookout where we not only mark our independence as a nation, but we begin to mark our independence from this virus.
Did our independence ever hinge on the spread or containment of a virus? I mean, we still have our liberties. Those were given by God, not Dr. Fauci. Now the Democratic National Committee is continuing this independence from COVID theme in a new ad.
And this year, there's more to celebrate. The freedom to hug a grandchild, to come back together again.
People hugged their grandchildren and got together last year. Remember the July 4th celebrations at Mount Rushmore? I was there, I covered it. And at the White House, see all those people? And that was when Operation Warp Speed was still underway. Reducing July 4th to a campaign ad or a vaccine victory lap diminishes the importance of this holiday when we need it most. July 4th reminds us of our hard-won liberties, and it marks our independence as a people from a tyrannical overlord, historically the British. Beyond cookouts and mattress sales, John Adams wrote a letter to his wife on July 3rd, 1776, clearly explaining his vision of July 4th. It ought to be commemorated, Adams wrote, as the day of deliverance by solemn acts of devotion to God Almighty. It ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, with shows, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations from one end of this continent to the other. I'm well aware of the toil and blood and treasure that it will cost us to maintain this declaration and support and defend these states. Yet, through all the gloom, I can see the rays of ravishing light and glory. What has become of those rays of ravishing light and glory? Adams would choke on a hot dog if he saw how cavalierly Americans brush off their birthright. A new Fox News poll finds that only 69% of Americans now believe the U.S. is the best country in the world to live in. Just 6 years ago, it was 83%. The numbers are even worse among those under 45. The big question is why? Part of the answer lies in the intentional racial division and the trashing of America's past. Last year, people took to the streets, literally destroying the markers of our shared history. Statues of Lincoln, the great emancipator, Grant, Columbus, even the saint who founded the missions in California were ripped down. The visual memory of these great American lives, once a source of unity and pride, have been physically stricken from public places. Now in classrooms and in the pop culture, all memory of these lives are being replaced or reimagined. Young people are taught that America is an irredeemable place predicated on the sin of slavery and colonization, which continues to this day. Stuffed with deformed history and lukewarm Marxism, the acolytes dutifully repeat their catechism.
You believe in a book that was rewritten by man, by a white supremacist man at that. This book says, respect thy neighbor as thy own. Unless they are a woman, black, trans, pregnant, in that case, stone them to death.
Republicans blocking critical race theory want to continue miseducating our kids, all in the name of patriotism.
My 4-year-old just came up to me and asked if she could play with my Dumbo Trump flag. This one! And I feel like it's kind of profound. Did he ruin the flag for anybody else? Just me?
If someone were defaming your relatives, your grandparents, you'd be mad as hell. And that's what's happening here. This is not a sober reckoning with American history, but the strafing of it. We owe our children the whole truth, good, bad, and ugly. Now to add asininity to injury, a task force at your National Archives, of all places, has a new report that the rotunda, which houses the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution, is itself an example of structural racism. Why, you ask? Because the rotunda, quote, lauds wealthy white men in the nation's founding while marginalizing black, indigenous, and other people of color, women, and other communities. But the task force has a solution. They would like to reimagine the rotunda, put in place trigger warnings, content advisories, to forewarn audiences, and I'm quoting, of content that may cause intense physiological and psychological symptoms. You house historic documents and records. This is not the release of Song of the South on Disney+. We don't need a warning. Additionally, they recommend the creation of safe spaces at every National Archives facility. Thomas Jefferson may need one of those safe spaces, as well as the other founding fathers. Can we still use the term founding fathers? At the Federal Reserve, you can't. They recently instructed employees to embrace bias-free language, avoiding constructions like founding fathers, man-made, and those bothersome personal pronouns. Whatever the intentions, all of this divides. It divides people by sex, race, religion. We don't even agree on a common language anymore. The consequences of this were dramatized vividly by the sad spectacle of Olympic contender Gwen Berry. Last week, she made a big show of disrespecting the flag of the country she competed to represent. Not only did she ignore the anthem, she threw a T-shirt over her head in protest. But this is Gwen Berry in 2015, the first time she qualified for the Olympics. She had no problem waving her flag and representing her country then. What happened between 2015 and 2021? Clearly, Gwen Berry, like many others, were repeatedly told about the gloom of America, focusing on her problems and setbacks and sins. But like the people who make up America, that's not all there is. We are a good, inventive, and loving people. And this July 4th, let's rekindle John Adams' rays of ravishing light and glory and celebrate them, despite our differences, as one American people.